Hello, you guys. Welcome to our What is Plexus call. We're so grateful that you have come today to learn a little bit more about products that we have all fallen in love with. We have all personally had an experience with the products. And the thing that I love about it is that all of our experiences are different. Um, our bodies are all unique and different, and we have different symptoms and things that we're prone to. And when we start nourishing at the root, our bodies will all start to thrive. So we're excited to share a little bit about our journey with you. And we are going to start off today with Melissa, and she is going to talk a little bit about how the products have blessed her life and how some of the products work. So we'll go over 4 of our products. We call it our Fab 4. It's our Triplex and our X Factor Plus. And we will talk about those here and explain a little bit how they work and how they have blessed our lives as well. So go ahead and take it away, Melissa.
All right. Thanks, Nicole. So just a little snippet of my story. Mine started, I've struggled all throughout my teenage years. And even now I'm 34. I'm a mom of 3 and married. I've been married for 9 years. And a couple of years ago, I started struggling with migraines, gaining weight. I had numbness and tingling in my hands and feet. And I was just exhausted. I didn't really know what was causing it. I had just had my 3rd baby. And I had gotten down to my pre-pregnancy weight pretty quick in. And then out of nowhere, I gained about 50 pounds. I was having migraines about 3 to 4 times a week that would totally debilitate me, and I would be stuck in bed. And friends and neighbors and family would have to come help take care of my kids. And then in 2019, I ended up being diagnosed with Lyme disease, which was good to finally have an answer to all of my symptoms. But it was still a long journey ahead. So in 2019, I did about 6 months of IV antibiotics and oral antibiotics and other medications to help with the side effects of the antibiotics that I was taking. I had a PICC line and a port put in place to help do those IV antibiotics because my veins got so terrible. But I was still sick a lot of the time, and it wasn't really sustainable to continue going on and off all of these antibiotics and different medications. And in about October of 2019, my friend Jessica, who I actually didn't really know very well, I knew her husband from junior high, but she introduced me to these products, and she told me that she thought that they would really help, and that my gut was kind of out of whack. So in October, I started using these products. I started with the Fab 4 and a couple of other ones, and it completely changed how I felt. Within a couple of weeks, I had energy again. I was able to start exercising. I was feeling a lot better, and within a few months, I was able to wean off of all of my prescription medications, and I was just using different supplements and herbal antibiotics from my doctor. So I've been able to basically go from bedridden to exercising 5 days a week. I work 20 hours a week doing social work, and I'm able to take care of my kids and not be afraid of what I'm going to feel like the next day because I'm totally worn out. So Plexus has totally changed my life, and I know that it can help so many others. I've seen it change the life of family and friends all around me, and so I just love Plexus, and I'm super passionate about it. So I'm going to start off talking about the Slim and the X Factor. So there's 2 different kinds of Slim. They come in little individual packets like this, and you mix them in water. So Slim, I don't really love the name of it because a lot of people that I've talked to, especially recently, have not wanted to use it if their issue wasn't weight loss. But Slim is mainly to help with balancing blood sugars and hormones. It has 2 antioxidants in it. It has chlorogenic acid and alpha lipoic acid. They're antioxidants that help our bodies to detox and get rid of heavy metals. It helped a lot with my Lyme disease and my detox because I wasn't detoxing very well, and so that's why I was sick. It was just recirculating through my body. So the Slim is sweetened with stevia, and it tastes really good. It is, let's see, it helps to balance our blood sugars and our hormones, and our master hormone is insulin. And if we can get that under control, it's kind of a domino effect, and it'll help our other hormones. And having our blood sugars balanced will decrease the crashes in the late afternoon and our cravings and that odd snacking during the day that we have. And so if we can get that balance, then it will help us to feel better all around. It's linked to so many other health issues that we have, and just having a balanced blood sugar also helps with your headaches. You'll get headaches from going up and down in your blood sugar levels. So the Slim really helps with that. And some of you may ask the difference between the two. The other one that we have it doesn't have fiber in it, but it has prebiotics to feed the probiotics in your gut, to help feed the good bacteria in your gut. So that's the main difference. It doesn't help as much, I think, with cravings and things, but it helps to feed that good bacteria in your gut. So that is the Slim. And then the other product that I am going to talk about is the X Factor Plus. And I love the X Factor Plus. It's fully methylated and bioavailable, and it has aloe in it. So it helps it to just really stick to your gut and absorb. And for a lot of people, I know for myself, I have something called MTHFR. So I don't absorb regular vitamins. And so when I was trying to heal my gut before and take vitamins to be healthy, when I went in with my diagnosis, my doctor said, stop taking all of that, you're not absorbing it. But since I started using X Factor Plus, I started absorbing my nutrients, and it actually sticks. It has all the vitamins and nutrients that you need, and that extra aloe to help. It can help with your mental clarity, it can help with hot flashes, help with your mood. It can help with so many different things. And so I love the X Factor. And that's all.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I love hearing your story. We've got loud kiddos here. I love hearing your story about going from being completely exhausted to having energy and thriving. And I know that you're still on your journey. I too actually was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and it's not an overnight fix for sure. And I think, you know, most health issues aren't. I like to compare it to working out at the gym. When you go to the gym and you lift weights for maybe 2 or 3 months, if you stop doing it, if you stop working on, you know, strengthening your body, then you are going to take steps backwards. And it's the same thing with what we put inside of our body, right? It's all about strengthening, putting the right things in so that we can thrive. And along the way, that's when we start seeing our story unfold of like all the changes over time, right? Sometimes we forget to notice the little improvements in our life, and we forget that those little things compound over time to be really big things. So I personally have seen that in my life with, you know, being consistent with working out, with my mental health, with putting nourishing things in my body, with these supplements as well. I've been on the products for 2 years now, actually this month, and they have changed my life. Like, I get a little bit emotional even thinking about it, because where I was at 2 years ago was not a good place, and I was really, really struggling. And I remember one night I turned to my husband and I just said, and this is after like years of being like, I'm going to be running marathons when I'm 80, because I was just always like hopped up on life. And then things just got me down and I wasn't feeling well. And I turned to him one night and I said, I just don't even know if I'll make it to 80, because I really believed that. I just felt so exhausted all the time and weak, and I felt like my health just continued to spiral downward. And so starting these supplements have changed my health in so many ways and have given me the ability to now thrive as a mama of 4. Next up, we are going to hear Jessica. She's sitting here right next to me. She is going to share a little bit about her story and how the products have also helped her to thrive and overcome things in her life. So go ahead and take it away.
So most of you guys know my story by now, and I'm actually going to do a little twist to my story on how Plexus has blessed my life, not just my health and my life. It was 6 years ago, really, that I had my 6-year-old. She's almost 7, but over the course of her 6 years of life, she would always have really skimpy bowel movements. She was really irritable. She had thin hair. When my oldest daughter had really thick, thriving hair, she had a big tummy poo. She was really ornery. She didn't sleep well at night. She wet the bed. There were just so many things that were happening with her body and her symptoms. And as a nurse, my husband's a nurse too, we always knew something was off, something was wrong. the Pedialyte Penguin tablets. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those at the store, but she lived off those. And so for a long time, I'm like, let's just see if she outgrows it. Maybe she's intolerant. She has an intolerance to dairy or gluten. And we were just trying to be patient with her. We would be in the car and we could smell her if she passed gas up in the front seat, and we knew it was her. Like, you knew something was wrong. She would be on the toilet a lot, crying because she either couldn't poop or she was having diarrhea. So we were doing a lot of Desitin. Like, we could not find a happy place for her. And for a really long time, sorry, she's going home, she's screaming really fast. So for a really long time, I wanted to help her find answers in the last 3 years, but I was so focused on myself because that was the same time that my health really went downward. And I had been sick for probably 10 years, but when I say sick, just like the average symptoms that all of us moms have. I was run down, I was tired, I was taking naps, I was dependent on caffeine. My husband helped a ton. I cried a lot, like that kind of stuff. And then I was diagnosed with celiac. And I actually have to thank my daughter for that, because I was so focused on myself for so long and so worried about myself that her symptoms really sparked something in me that Western medicine wasn't touching. You know, the Pedialyte would help for 2 hours and then she needed another one. She would have 6 tablets in a day. And I knew I would do anything for your child. And if you're listening to me and you're a mom or an aunt or a grandma, you will do anything for your kid if you know that it will give them a better quality of life. And so she was actually diagnosed after me because I was too worried about myself. I knew I needed to figure out her problems. I just didn't know how to get there. I didn't know how to help her until I helped myself. So finally I was diagnosed with celiac disease. And then the doctor was like, you probably should get all of your kids tested. So we tested all 3 children, and believe me, it's not a fun experience to take them all to the lab, get them all poked, but we knew we needed to do this. So out of the 3 kids, Aspen, my little 6-year-old, was diagnosed with celiac disease. It was Halloween 2 years ago, and she was out trick-or-treating, and I think I cried harder for her sake than mine, because I can go with a salad and be fine, but to know that she could never have the social life that I did growing up was really hard. Socially, you guys, that's the hardest part about going gluten-free, is having the gluten-free prep, the meal prep, the restaurants. Like, it's time consuming. But the fact that I knew what it was doing to her, and I didn't want her to have a life that I did over the last 3 years, I would do anything for her. So on November 1st, the next day, we went 100% gluten-free. We did not have any ounce of gluten in my house. I gave boxes and boxes of food storage away. I just didn't want the temptation for her and myself, and I wanted her to feel like she could eat in our own walls of our own home. She could go in there and grab a snack and I wouldn't have to say no to her. I cook 100% gluten-free. We have gluten-free meals every night. Now that we've been 2 years in, I do let my other 2 eat gluten for sandwiches and stuff like that, but I still only cook 1 dinner every single night. We all eat gluten-free. So at this point, it was October. I had been gluten-free myself for 2 months. She had just started gluten-free, and then this lady came into my life 3 months later. So I had been gluten-free for 5 months. At that time, my daughter had been gluten-free for about 3, and I needed help, you guys, but I wasn't getting help where I needed it from Western medicine. I wasn't getting any answers. Yes, gluten-free eating did help and take away symptoms, but I still had a missing piece to my puzzle. And that was because I was not absorbing the vitamins and supplements that I needed from where, you know, we don't get that from today's world. So I started Plexus a few months later, and so did my daughter. I started her actually a few months after I started. I got her on the kids vitamin, which is the X Factor, and then I started her on the pink drink and the Probio 5. We waited a little bit for the Bio Cleanse because I was kind of nervous with her loose stools. But after I had started her on the full regimen with the X Factor kids, and then I was on the Triplex, which is the foundational system that Plexus is known for, and that targets blood sugar balance, which is linked to everything. Decreasing inflammation, which is also linked to autoimmune and chronic illness. And you can Google that with any disease or diagnosis or poor energy, and you will find so much information on this. And then gut health. And since then, it's been almost 2 years. Both my daughter and I are thriving. She has, you guys, she has such thick hair. She has thicker hair than my older daughter, who doesn't have celiac or any kind of food intolerance. She doesn't have a little pooch. She's thriving. She's growing. She gained weight, which I didn't even know she was light in weight. And it's just amazing that when our bodies are not getting the nutrients that they need and then they can't absorb because of celiac disease, we are just bound to not thrive. Like, we are not giving our bodies the tools that it needs to thrive every day. And our bodies were meant for more than going to a doctor, taking prescription drugs to poop every day, or have to wipe Desitin every day on your sore bum. Like, we are just meant for more than this. And when it comes to my family, Plexus has absolutely changed my entire world, changed my little girl's life, and I would do it 100% over again. And it's also changed my life. So that's kind of like my story. We both suffer through celiac and autoimmune, and I am so grateful that Plexus has provided such a simple tool that has filled in that missing piece in my life. So that's kind of where my story is.
Cool. I like hearing more about your daughter, about her story, because there's a lot of children that do struggle with health issues a lot nowadays, autoimmune and tummy troubles. And one of my nurse friends said that that's one of the biggest reasons why parents bring their kids in the doctors, because their stomach hurts, and they're like, I don't know why her stomach hurts all the time or whatever. And then they end up coming in and the doctors just say, well, they're just really constipated. So a lot of kids struggle with that. And I think for most adults, for most parents, we don't know what to do, right? Like, I had constipation my whole life and thought it was normal. So I think a lot of times we just classify it as normal. So a little bit about my story. I started the products because I had IBS, undiagnosed IBS. And it was just, I had gone from constipation my whole life to the opposite. And then it would just kind of go back and forth. And I was just all over the place. And I was stumped because I had been on probiotics for years. And I was eating clean, and at the time I was gluten-free, and I was like, what is going on? I eat an avocado and I'm sick, right? Like, it didn't really matter. And my doctor, I was actually pregnant at the time, and my doctor wanted to get my gallbladder taken out, and I was like, no, I don't want to take an organ out when I'm pregnant. I don't want to, jeopardize any part of my pregnancy. And I ended up deciding to give Plexus a try because I had heard about it helping with those things. And it did help with those things, you guys, but it helped with so much more than that. Like, I look back over the majority of my marriage, and one thing I don't talk about it a lot, and this kind of came up in a conversation with someone today who was telling me how she has always had a lot of discharge and yeast infections and itching and all that, itching in all areas down there, just to be like completely clear. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I did too. And I just thought it was normal. And I remember when I had gone to my first OB visit, right before, it was like the week before I ended up starting Plexus, or actually it might've been a few weeks before, the doctor said, you have a yeast infection. And I'm like, really? I've kind of felt, a little itchy or burny, but like, just, I kind of always feel like that. And so I thought it was normal. And I've had yeast infections that were out of control before. And so it wasn't out of control. So I kind of just thought it was normal. But it's not, you guys. That is an overgrowth of candida in our body. And taking a regular probiotic didn't get rid of that. So things that I love about Plexus that I'm going to share with you, the reason why our products target yeast and candida, one thing that a lot of us don't learn about, don't know about, is that we are all born with yeast. We're all born with candida in our body. But it can overgrow really easily by our modern day lifestyle, prescriptions, antibiotics, sugar, fast food, just all these things, so many things. I mean, there's even antibiotics in our dairy. Just all of our dairy mostly has antibiotics use in it and things like that. And so we start stripping away the good bacteria in our gut. And what that does is it creates room for the bad to overgrow, because the good bacteria in our gut is actually what keeps that bad in balance. It keeps it down, suppresses it down. So when we start getting imbalanced in our gut, this yeast will flare up. And if you go and Google Candida yeast, you will find that it is linked to so many health issues, you guys. Put in the Google search, like any symptom you have, say like joint pain and Candida yeast or whatever, you will find that it is connected. And so most probiotics, they do not target Candida yeast. And this is something I didn't know until I started Plexus, is that Candida yeast actually has a hard outer shell, and it has something called a biofilm. A biofilm protects itself from, you know, antibiotics and other things, other medications. And so it's really hard to penetrate and get rid of. And it makes it easier for it to multiply and run rampant in our body. And so putting good bacteria in, there's not even going to be room for it in your gut because it's bad is just overtaken, right? And so I love that our ProBio 5 right here, it has digestive enzymes in it, and digestive enzymes come from plants. They're all natural. What they do is they actually help with every function in our body, but different enzymes do different things. And the enzymes in this are specific for breaking down biofilms, breaking down bad bacteria, and namely Candida, getting rid of those biofilms. So I love that the chitosanase in here helps break down the hard outer shell of Candida yeast. And then we have an antifungal in it called grapeseed extract, and that also targets fungus in the body. So this has been incredible for normalizing my gut. I don't have IBS anymore. I'm regular. I can eat things that I couldn't eat before that would send me running to the bathroom. It's just changed everything for me. If you struggle with bowel issues, you know what it's like to either be running to a bathroom or be buckled over in pain because your stomach hurts, right? Like, I can't even tell you how many fun activities that I was involved in where I was like, I gotta go sit in the car. We were at Corn Bellies, a little fun Halloween place, like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and I had eaten a little bit of bread there, and I was just buckled over in pain, like about to sweat bullets. And you guys, I was the lightest that I had ever weighed. I weighed 124 at the time. I had been eating super clean, and I had a little bit of bread, and it just sent me like into a flare up. And I was in the car just like, oh, my stomach hurts so bad. Like, just, I can't even explain that feeling. But when you experience things like that, you know what it's like to just want answers, right? And modern medicine hasn't done that for me like a probiotic, like our probiotic has. So I love that this has changed that for me. It's taken away that severe stomach cramping and issues like that. And then the Bio Cleanse has made me regular. So I know that it says cleanse on it, and that scares some people away, especially if they have loose bowels. They think, oh, I don't need a cleanse and I don't want to be running to the bathroom. Everybody's dose on this is different. You might need 1 a day and you might need 6 a day, right? So everyone's dose is different. But what it does is it gently goes in and it helps take out the garbage that the ProBio 5 is breaking down. So if you're breaking down the bad and that bad is kind of stuffed up and it doesn't have anywhere to go, it's going to create toxins in your gut and it's going to make you feel sicker. We need to be eliminating properly. And most people have some kind of bowel issue, whether they're too loose or whether they're too constipated. They're not regular, right? We should be pooping 2 to 3 times a day and eliminating after every meal. And if we're not, then we're probably too backed up. So I love this product because it helps keep you regular, but it also does so much more than that. So this is a gentle magnesium vitamin C supplement. And what it does is it helps with 400 functions in your body. It helps oxygenate your body, and it also helps with hormone balance. If you look at magnesium, it helps with over 400 functions. So it does a lot more than just keep you regular. It's a really important part of our hormone health as well. These products alone changed so much for me, but I did always start it with the products that Melissa spoke about. I started it with the Triplex, which is these products, and the Slim, and then I added in the X Factor Plus a few months later. And they have overall just changed so many aspects, like not all at once, right? My story built over the years. So, you know, a couple months in, I was noticing big changes in my IBS. And then 6 months in, I was noticing big changes with my breast milk supply for my baby when I had struggled in past years with not having enough breast milk and having to supplement a ton. And with the one that I started on these supplements with, I didn't struggle with that because blood sugar balance is related to so much of that. And I've had joint pain ever since I can remember, like since being diagnosed with Lyme disease and things like that. And I don't struggle with joint pain anymore. So all of those things have compounded over time to give me thriving health and to feel my best. I could go on and on and on, but overall, it's just made a big difference in my life. And so many other people that I know have also seen big changes in their life. So thank you so much for joining today. And if you have any questions, reach out to the person that invited you to this call or invited you to listen to the replay, and just be open and ask questions. We're just here to help you and educate you on what the products do and things that we think would help you, which products would help you get the results you're looking for. So thank you so much, you guys, and I hope to see you all soon.